Former NFL QB predicts Shedeur Sanders to be traded just months after CU Buffs legend slid in draft. Shedeur Sanders missed Saturday's Cleveland Browns practice with what was called soreness in his throwing arm. One former NFL quarterback thinks that could actually mean something else for the Colorado Buffaloes star, who went in the 5th round, pick number 144 overall, to Cleveland. Benkert, who played for the Packers briefly, doesn't go on to explain his logic, leaving it up to all of us to figure out what he means. Likely, he's centering around the idea that certain narratives get started to advance certain causes. If Sanders is hurt, and therefore a bit out of the running for the Browns' QB depth chart, maybe the best option is to trade him. That way, it doesn't seem as much like the Browns are cutting their losses on a guy they just drafted less than 4 months ago. If Benkert means something else, maybe he'll resurface on X and explain himself. Sanders' injury is certainly unfortunate timing, because he'd been playing pretty well in training camp. Hopefully for his sake, he can get back on the field soon. It's tough enough to be in a 4-man competition with Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dillon Gabriel, even without an injury. There's still a month to go here, and a slate full of preseason games. Maybe a trade does come down the line. But it'd be a lot more interesting if Sanders first got to see preseason action for Cleveland and show what he can do in a game setting. From there, the Browns will have plenty of decisions still to make on the Colorado great, the Oregon star Gabriel, and the 2 veterans Flacco and Pickett. It started as a passing comment on a late-night podcast. Former NFL quarterback and current analyst Chris Sims leaned back in his studio chair, eyes narrowing as he broke down the Cleveland Browns quarterback room. "I wouldn't be shocked if Shedeur Sanders is moved before midseason," Sims said, almost casually. "The writing's on the wall, and it started the moment he slipped in the draft. Cleveland was never going to be his long-term home." The clip went viral by sunrise. A fall few expected. The 2025 NFL Draft had been anticipated as the final crown on Shedeur Sanders' remarkable college career. The son of Coach Prime, the gunslinger who put Colorado football back on the map, the steady hand in the eye of every storm. But when draft night came, his name sat, untouched, pick after pick, team after team. Questions about offensive systems, arm strength under pressure, and media distractions filled studio banter. Shedeur eventually went early in the 2nd round, taken by the Cleveland Browns, a team with a carousel of quarterbacks and little patience for development. In the days after, many said the fall would fuel him. But Sims saw something different. Slipping out of the 1st round hurt his leverage, Sims later explained. It forced him into a situation where he's not the plan, he's insurance. The Browns' congested QB room. Cleveland's quarterback situation has become a riddle wrapped in a jersey. Kenny Pickett arrived with a chip on his shoulder, trying to salvage his career. Dillon Gabriel, the surprising 3rd-string rookie, carved out unexpected momentum. And then the Browns brought in Marcus Mariota, veteran mentor wild card. For Shedeur, it meant fewer reps, a constantly shifting pecking order, and a shrinking window to showcase what made him special at Colorado. Sometimes, Sims said on his podcast, Gridiron Reality Check, it's not about how good you are. It's about fit, culture, timing. Cleveland's moving in another direction. Shedeur? He needs a team that lets him grow into a franchise QB, not survive as a seat warmer. From Folsom to forgotten? Not quite. To Buffs fans, the idea of Shedeur being shuffled out felt like sacrilege. He was the heart of a revival. The man who stood tall in snow, rain, altitude, and media firestorms. He passed for over 7,000 yards in 2 seasons, made clutch look casual, and elevated everyone around him. Especially Travis Hunter, whose own legacy was sealed by Shedeur's confidence and ball placement. Coach Prime even said it best after Shedeur's draft night. They don't know what they passed on, but they gon' learn. Now, just months later, the story has taken another turn. Trade chatter intensifies. Sims wasn't the only voice. NFL insider Josna Anderson added fuel, reporting that 2 unnamed teams have done internal work on Shedeur in the past month. One NFC executive was quoted anonymously. "You don't trade for Shedeur just for depth. You do it if you believe in what he can become. And with the right structure, he could be elite." Speculation pointed to Atlanta, a city rich with prime family history, and New Orleans, where Shedeur's poise and RPO experience could thrive under a more creative offense. Shedeur's subtle signal. Shedeur himself hasn't spoken much, but fans noticed a telling change. His Instagram bio no longer referenced the Browns. No logo. No team mentions. Just a single quote. Don't trip. God already wrote it. To some, it was just a message of patience. To others, a farewell written in digital ink. Coach Prime weighs in again. During a recent Buffs team visit, Coach Prime, wearing his signature shades and gold whistle, was asked about Sims' prediction and the growing noise. He chuckled softly. Sometimes people see the storm coming before the rain even hits. My son ain't broken. He's just being rerouted. And that reroute might be the best thing that ever happens to him. Legacy in motion. If Shedeur Sanders does get traded, months after being passed over by half the league, he won't leave Cleveland with regret. He'll leave with lessons. He'll leave with perspective, hunger, and a sharper edge than the one he brought from Boulder. Because what Sims and many others see isn't failure. It's the early stirrings of a story that could mirror many of the greats who found their greatness somewhere else. Like Steve Young leaving Tampa. Like Drew Brees leaving San Diego. Like Jalen Hurts leaving Alabama. Maybe Shedeur Sanders leaving Cleveland is just the beginning. Final whistle. Chris Sims ended his podcast episode with a subtle smile. Shedeur's got the tools. He just needs the right toolbox. And if he ends up somewhere that believes in him the way Colorado did, he might just prove every doubter wrong again.